For the best mobile home investing advice, subscribe to our channel, hit that bell, and be notified when we drop new videos every single week.
Hey guys, this is Jay and Samara. If you're joining us, it's because you're interested in flipping your first home. We actually chose the avenue of mobile homes. And Samara, you want to go into why we chose that route first and foremost?
Yeah, definitely. So we, started off in traditional real estate and we found the niche of mobile home investing. And we really felt that it fit us because first of all, it was really inexpensive to purchase your first home. It's a lot faster than traditional real estate, and the ROIs are great. So we thought it was a great place to go and start investing and flipping homes, and we've been there ever since. So it's been good for us.
It hasn't been the smoothest process. When we first started out, we had a few roadblocks we had to get over and some obstacles until we ran into this gentleman here by the name of John Fedro. When it comes to mobile homes and the mobile home industry, we consider John Fedro the guru of this industry. He has a ton of information, way more than us combined, and we thought it would be great to pick his brain a little bit with the hopes of you discovering something about mobile homes that could intrigue you to go into this direction, or even something within the mobile home industry that might spark some interest for you. So with that being said, we'd like to introduce this gentleman named John Fedro. He's doing some amazing things in this industry, and it's such an honor to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me. Seriously, mobile homes are not the end all be all. So I think for the folks listening to this as well, understand if this is something you don't want to do, check it off that list and be like, okay, I definitely don't want to do this. Let me focus my time to something else, not waste it somewhere else. So anyway, I didn't mean to be like a downer as soon as I come on the microphone.
No worries, John. I know we know a lot about you. Can you just give us a little bit for the people that don't really know your background or history, a little bit about where you're from, who you are, and maybe even what your parents did, just a little brief background of who you are.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I don't often share that. The mid 30s now, born in New Hampshire originally, and graduated high school there, moved down to Florida, where soon after I moved down, I realized I was not a very good employee. So I was looking for other things to do with my time and with the fire that I had inside me. So I started doing different multi-level marketings and just trying to look for something. And eventually I stumbled upon real estate. Didn't come from a real estate background at all. We did live in the same house growing up. My mother was a registered nurse, or still is, retired. And then my father did something at Honeywell. I don't know if he could talk about it, or he didn't really talk about it that much. And so, no, just didn't. I thought I was going to be working for the rest of my life. I was pre-med for a while I was going through college. And then I got out of that and went to business for a little while and then dropped out altogether. When I found real estate and was actively investing, I was like, I didn't want to, I'll go back to school later in life when I want to learn something I want to learn, take up astronomy or some physics or something like that. But I think I got off the topic a little bit, but I hope that gave a little bit of background of where I'm from. I live in Austin, Texas now. I was in Florida for over a decade and then moved to Austin. It's great here. I'm not sure where I'll move to next, eventually see more of the country. But mobile homes, it's been so great because I didn't know that when I was investing in Florida for so long, and then I didn't really see much of the country, didn't really see much of the world. And I kind of had this epiphany, we do this business to be able to be mobile, or to at least not have to go to a job. And so there were so many years of just keeping my head down in the trenches and focusing that I'm finally when I came up, I'm whoa, this is what we work for. And I can go and I can, and then moving to Texas and is this going to work here? And then it was. I mean, there's more mobile homes. Obviously, and then around the country there are, of course. So that's a little bit of the of my history.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. Can you explain, your first two deals? I think everyone remembers their first two mobile home deals. Can you share your experience with us?
I can. And it's weird. I don't know if I've talked about these enough or if they just stand out, but I can't remember. If you were to ask me what was my third through seventh deal, I don't know if I can remember. I'd have to go back and actually look to see the numbers, and I keep the files of everything, but I don't know. Like, so it's just these one or two do stand out. These both of these deals, and they were two deals right around Tampa, like on the outskirts of Tampa. One was like an hour away. One was a mobile home in a park. One was a mobile home on land. They all happened. They all happened. They both happened within about a week of each other. So I'm actually not sure. I'd have to go back and look which one was first. But there was a mobile home in a park, and then there was a mobile home on land. But I didn't know anything about mobiles. I wasn't coming from traditional real estate, but the only education I had was a 3-ring binder of a late night infomercial that my buddy had. And I'm like, hey, can I borrow this book? This looks pretty cool. And I read through the book a couple times. I'm like, I want to do this. And it was just like pie in the sky numbers, like get a house under contract for this, clean it up and fix it. And you can make so much. And owner financing, what's owner financing? So it was like so awesome to me. And it was in Tampa where anybody could make money by cleaning a window and making a bunch of money. At the time, it was like early 2000s.
Yeah.
And so, and I couldn't do that. So I failed. Like I couldn't do that. I don't know. I didn't have money. I didn't have a big social network. I was crazy young. Uh, I wasn't like, didn't feel confident in myself. I know that. And so the first home that I purchased was a mobile home. I believe it was the mobile home in the park. And I negotiated with the lady over the phone. She wanted $8,000 for her home. And I hung up the phone right there. I didn't even negotiate. She said, how much do you want? How much do you want? She said 8,000. I went and saw it. And as I was driving up, I realized like, oh, this is in a mobile home park. I've never lived in a mobile home. I don't know the first thing about mobile homes. So I was getting to like their driveway. I kind of knew which home was there. I was made a few turns in the park. And I remember seeing this home, and it's a home I've had. I recently sold it, but it took me like 14 years to sell it because I kept getting it back. It was one of the longer ones that I had in a park. And I sold it every time for like 5 years. That's not true, but I kept getting it back. Anyway, $8,000. I was getting up to the home. I felt this wave of nausea coming up. I had Eminem's music playing like pretty loud at the time because I wanted to get like pumped up and like, yeah, I can do this. And I just like, and I was confident until this like flood of emotions took me over, and I pulled over to the side of the road, which there was nobody there. I mean, I was going like 5 miles an hour anyway. I pulled over and I got sick and I just threw up on the side of the road. No one saw me, I don't think, except myself. And I like remember looking in my rearview mirror and it's like, it's so easy just to go home. I can make an excuse. I can come back tomorrow. And I didn't. I went to the appointment and I negotiated with the seller, talked. The home needed 1 or 2 repairs with the plumbing, but it was beautiful. It was a 4-bedroom, 2-bath on this pond.
Wow.
I'm maybe making the sound. No, it is nice. It was only like, I think maybe 20 years old at the time, but really nice. I had like a screened in porch area up on like looking over this little pond, and it was like mosquito-y. So it wasn't like a beautiful lake or anything like that, but it was a nice pond. And that was a great deal. I purchased it for $3,000 total, but I didn't even have $3,000 at the time. So I made a deal to the lady. I'll give you $300 today, and then 9 more payments of $300. Like just that. And I don't even know where I came up with that sort of, just like I knew that we had to make an agreement here. Like I heard and this was actually a really sweet lady.
Right.
Things turned out a little bit later that she wasn't as sweet as I had thought because she kind of lied about a few things. But this was a sweet lady. I understand her problem, knew what she wanted the money for, knew that she wanted to get to somewhere else to be with her daughter, and just, it was like a real human being. So I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I felt good, and I felt like I could help this person, and I did. And so that was the first mobile home I purchased. I sold it right away for payments. I believe the first time I sold it was for $27,000 with $2,500 down, and I forget the monthly payments. But that guy stayed in, I think, a year and a half, got it back, cleaned it up a little bit, resold it again for something in the 30s, the low 30s, got it back another time, like 2 years later, and then sold it again for the high 30s.
Wow.
And then, I mean, it was, if it's, I don't want this to come off like, oh, wow, he's just selling something that like isn't worth it. I learned more. I did more repairs to the home. The home was worth that. The payments were happy. The payments were good. The buyers were happy. So that was the first deal in a park. The one on land was this subject to deal. I purchased a mobile home subject to the underlying debt. So the guy wanted for his home, I should have looked at this. The guy wanted for his home $40-some thousand for the property. And it was worth right around 100 or so. I came to find out later. I thought it was only worth like 70. But I said, okay, like I will give you this money. He owed the high 30s on it. So he only wanted to walk with like less than 10,000. Right. And I didn't have 10,000 at the time. So I said, okay, well, I'll take over your underlying payments and I will give you a little bit of money per month. And then it'll balloon in like 5 years, I'll give you more money. But I essentially did something creative. And I was still so sick to my stomach. I'm like, how am I, this pimply-faced younger kid, going to help these older people double or triple my age that own property? I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm living with my mother. And it's like, I'm supposed to solve your problems? Like, I got problems. And so it ended up working out. Like, I bought the home. I figured it out. I did have a mentor at the time. He didn't know much about mobiles, but we pieced everything together. Mobiles on land are similar to single family homes a bit. So got into that one, tried to sell it on payments. And the first tenant buyers I had with this home, I remember them because I had two choices when I sold it. I could follow my heart, because there was these people that I sold to, they had two little daughters that were like playing without any shoes on. And like, I knew that they needed a place to live. And they said that they had a little bit of money to put down. So I could either follow my heart and go with that route with the young kids. And like the parents were not younger, but the younger kids I felt bad for. And then this other route of somebody that wanted to go to a bank and eventually get the loan. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to go with the surefire thing with the people that can go to the bank, that have money, that have income. I'm going to follow my heart because that's why I got into this business, to help people. And I say that kind of sarcastically. It might sound rude, but I followed my heart and I didn't get the first check bounce, the second check bounce. They stayed in for a while. They never paid me anything. I ended up selling it to the next people, not those original people that wanted to buy it cash, but I sold it to somebody else that wanted to buy it cash. And they paid me, I think it was just over 100,000. And I cashed out the underlying loan. And I found out that the guy that I bought it from, he had a $7,000 child support lien on the home. Ooh. And whose fault was that? Well, it was my fault because I didn't do enough due diligence when I bought the home, or I would have found that and I would have been like, hey, I'm giving you 7,000 less because of this. Right. But I didn't do that. So just chalked it up. I still walked away with like 30 grand, which was way more than I've ever seen in my life at the time. So it was like,
absolutely. It like takes a whole year for most people to make 30 grand. So you can't complain too much.
So you can register for our free web class at the link below this video. And if you want to join a community of investors just like you, we have started a Facebook community where we share our latest tips and tricks and advice on mobile home investing to help you navigate this sometimes tricky space.
So if this video was helpful, be sure to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit that bell button so you can be notified when we post videos every single week.
See you later.